Start.
परिस्थिति
Aditi, mute the camera.
Yeah, everybody.
Yeah, ready. Start. Still camera mute. Oh, yeah. Okay.
So can you see the screen? I'm sorry.
Yeah. Present
Okay.
some news.
You can present, yeah.
So hello everybody, my name is Aditi and today I'm going to be giving a very brief tutorial on how to make a car in Autodesk Fusion 360. Now before we start making the car, let's know about the software that you're going to be using so we are more familiarized with it and it will help us make the car later on. So what is Autodesk Fusion 360? Well, Fusion 360 is a CAD tool that is run by Autodesk, and it's mostly used for 3D designing all over the world by students, teachers, engineers, and they use it to build, design, and manufacture. CAD stands for Computer Aided Design, and this software is actually mostly used for 3D designing and 3D printing. Um, Autodesk also has many other software such as AutoCAD and Inventor, but like this is Fusion 360, and this is actually one of the first CAD, K, and CAM tools that was created. So let's talk about some of the features of Fusion 360. There are many features in this software, such as design, generative design, manufacturing, render, animation, simulation, and drawing. We are mostly going to be on the design and render at the very end. Here I've given a definition of what design was, and like it's like creates mechanical design, schematic, geometry, access commands to create solid bodies. So you can do mostly like everything on here, such as 3D modeling and like yeah. So before we get started, I'm gonna like familiarize with views and stuff, so we know what we are doing and the designing processes. So since Fusion 360 is actually a 3D software, we have 6 views, and at the top right corner of the program, you can see that there is a cube showing all the views. There's the top view, bottom view, left view, right, front, and back. And when you're designing, you have to keep in mind of all these views. And the software is actually based on a 3-coordinate system that consists of the X, Y, and Z axis. You can change the directions of the axis, but for my one, these were my three coordinates. So next, let's talk about the components of a 3D model. Here we have these points, and each point is called a vertex, and those points, when they connect, they form an edge. And then they create faces. For example, over here, we can count 1, 2, 3, 4 faces, and there's much more other faces. The card that I made had roughly about like hundreds of faces on it. And then the whole thing together is actually called a body. And here I just drew a simple cube, and this is known as one body. My car was had about approximately 20 bodies that were connected all together to create a car. So I've put on some key functions that I use to make the car, and since like Fusion 360 is like there's like many functions in this software, and like even like there's like hundreds of functions, and like people that use this software on a daily basis don't know how all these softwares. So one of them was edit form, and basically this was the most edit form is the most used function that we use when making the car, and this basically allows to move, rotate, flatten the components in the design. There's crease, which sharpens edges, so like it stands out more. There we have weld vertices, and this basically, if there's like two separate vertices, if you select those, they connect the vertices, making a body. And there's merge edges, and you can select edges, and they basically connect the edges together. We have move and copy that we also use, and this basically copies bodies and moves them to wherever you want. We have symmetry. Now there's many different types of symmetry that you can use. For making the car, we use two different types of symmetry, and the two different types were duplicate symmetry and circular symmetry. And duplicate symmetry was used when making wheels, mirrors, and headlights. And the circular symmetry was specifically used when making the internal section of the wheels. And basically, symmetry just duplicates the action and does it like on it. And then we have subdivide, and basically when you have a face, you subdivide basically divides that face into smaller faces. And the last one is appearance, and this is used to add paint or texture to your design. To make life easier, I've added some keyboard shortcuts, and these really helped you out while making the designs. S is for actually searching up a specific function. So when you press S on the keyboard, this search button pops up, and you can actually search a specific function. And as I said before, Fusion 360 actually has like a lot of different functions, and you might not know where all of them are. So searching it up really helps. You can press Alt in edit form to create a new face, and this really helps while doing editing like the car, because sometimes you don't want to stretch like the searching part, and at that time you can just create a new face and stretch that. Shift and holding the mouse is used to rotate around the plane so you can see what's going on. We can use the scroll wheel on the mouse for zooming in and out, and click and hold for moving around the plane, and Control-C and Control-V for copy and pasting. These options, you can obviously use the keyboard shortcuts, but there's also these options located at the bottom bar of Fusion 360. And basically this one is used to rotate around. I'm actually not sure what this one is. I never used it, but like the hand one is actually used to move around the planes. This is for zoom in and out. These are like more specific zooming options. And then these are basically grid settings. So, and basically grid settings, like you can do snap-on grids, and like you can like set increments. So your mouse is gonna actually move like specific increments, and like it's set in like a lock-based thing. Okay, so let's go on to designing of the exterior of the car. Now, before I actually explain this, I'm not going to be showing how to make the whole car, since this is a lengthy process. And other than that, most of making the car is just editing the car. And like if I explain how to edit it, it would become pretty boring. So I'm actually going to just take some key parts and just show you. I made clips of me making the car. So I'm just going to take some key parts and just show how to do that. So this is how my car turned out at the very end. And
Aditi, one thing.
Yeah.
So this car was made by Aditi. That is okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you see that? This is so fantastic car. I like to have this car, maybe $1 million. So yeah, she made it. By the way, okay, go.
Thank you. So like this requires practice again, and as you can see, I had like trials of making a car. This was my first car actually, and I did this without like no videos or no tutorials, and I just tried making something with the knowledge that I had. And then as you can see, it's a primary level. It's an okay-ish structure. And then this was my second attempt where I actually looked at a tutorial. As you can see, I've got like some parts, but like the shape is not correct. This was my third attempt. I got to get the color on the car, and like I got like my side mirrors okay, my wheels were okay, but like the headlights, they weren't working, and the shape was still kind of weird. And then finally on my fourth try, after like a lot of trying and editing and fixing mistakes, I finally had an end product that looked like this. So to start the base of the car, we're actually going to be going into form mode, and To do that, we go to create form in the thing, and it's this little thing over here. And when you create on create form, many different options come up, and you can actually, like, these are the options that come up, and you can pick one of these to start your structure. We're gonna actually start with the plane, and a plane is basically a two-dimensional shape. I'm gonna show some video clips of like the thing. So as you can see, I clicked on create plane, and it created a plane for me. You can set your length and width to whatever you want. I think my car was somewhere around like 40 inches or like something like that. I'm not sure of the measurements I had before. But like basically what I did was I selected these two edges over here, and then I lifted it up so it creates a curved surface. And now, like, you might wonder why I'm creating a curved surface for like a car. And that's because with this one base, I copied and pasted it to create the hood of the car. And as you can see, the hood of the car is actually curved, and it's curved because of this portion right here, because I copied and pasted and flipped this to create the hood. And this is why the curve was essential here, because after, as you can see, the curve still remains over here, but if I try flattening it out a lot, sorry. I'll get to the wheel portions later, but like here's the hood of the car, and as you can see, a lot of it just editing the things and like moving it around and just playing with it so you can create a shape like a car. And to stretch it down over here, all I did was over here, I selected all these the edges all over here. I pressed Alt, which was one of the shortcuts for the keyboards, and I just dragged it down, which created something like this. Moving on to the wheels, I'm gonna go in a bit detail of the wheels since Uncle wanted me to show how the wheels are made. So first I'm gonna start with by creating the portion where the wheels are gonna go into. And all I'm doing this just by taking the two faces over here and just deleting them. And deleting the two faces makes like a cutout over here. And yeah, and as you can see, I just stretched this out so we have more space for the car over here. And I just took these two ones over here and just did the same thing, and I just deleted it to make just a little outer layer where the tire is gonna go into. And then over here, you can actually move it around. I selected all of these and I moved it around to a position where I thought the tires were gonna go into, and I'm enlarging it. You might ask, why am I enlarging it? Well, the tire is gonna fit here, right? And I don't know how big the tire is gonna be. And the thing is, after I create the tire, I can't change the shape of the tire itself since it's a circle, but I can actually change the shape of this portion, and I can like make it into like a circular shape. And that is why keeping it big is better, since if you keep it small, then like it's gonna be harder to fix things. But like if you keep it big, it's gonna be easier to edit it afterwards. So like the bigger you make these portions, the better it is to make the car. Okay, moving on to the tire itself. Over here you can see, so to make the tire, I started off with the create section again, and as you can see, I clicked on create cylinder over here. Once I click on create cylinder, it gives me options on what plane I want it on. I'm choosing this plane, and so when I click on this plane, I can actually draw now. I can draw a circle over here. And I started at roughly, I estimated a center point, and I just created a circle shape. And if I pressed OK, and it even gives you the dimension of the circle. So as you can see, the diameter of this tire is actually 15.478 inches. And to make the other tires, all I did was copy and paste this. And as you can see, it comes with faces. You can change the number of faces on your tire as well. Here it has four faces per like thing, and I think I have like 8. And then I'm actually rotating this thing, and I told you to keep in mind of the 4 views. I'm actually going into front views and my right views just so that everything aligns up, because it's essential to keep the tires aligned with the car. And once I've aligned everything, all I'm doing is I'm selecting the outer edges of my cylinder that I created, and I'm going into edit form. And after doing that, I'm just taking this little arrow thing and pressing Alt and making it come in. This basically like makes it come inside, which creates a shape of a tire roughly. And here I just made like the outer shape of the tire, and as you can see over here, I selected the outside edges once more, and I'm just bringing it in. You can see there's a little hole here, and this is where we're using the function called merge edge. You click on modify. I don't know, the letters aren't showing, but there's a whole bunch of options here, and one of them is called merge edge. And I'm using the merge edge option right over here to take these two edges and connect them together. So as you can see, once these edges connect, they look something like this. Okay, so we also created a protective layer for the wheels beneath the car, and all this was done by just taking the car and just moving this portion backwards. And once this was moved backwards, I just selected this portion and I dragged it in. And after that, I went over to my left view and just dragged it down. And so I went over to my left view and just made it align in with the car. And this is my protective layer for the wheel. So now we're going to actually go into creating the inner portion of the wheel. And I did this by, if you can see over here, I selected the inner portion over here. And I actually copy and pasted this, which created another cylinder type of figure. And I just shrunk that into a smaller size. And that just creates the base of the inside of the wheel. All I'm doing is now, oh, also I activated the symmetry over here, and this symmetry I'm using is circular symmetry, which means that if I do something on one edge, it's going to repeat that same action for all the other edges. So as you can see, I'm just taking this and taking it out, and now since I have symmetry, circular symmetry on, all of these are going out like this at the same time, making the structure of a wheel. And I'm just using Alt to create new faces. Like right now, I just created a new face over here. And this just goes into the wheel. And I selected these things, and you can actually play around with it and like make your wheels shape however you want. Like if you want it a little bit curved, or if you want your wheels a bit more straighter, it really depends on you. And then I'm just taking it and moving the wheels with a bit back with Alt. And like this just creates a 3D effect on the inside of the wheel. And I also added a circle thing at the background, but like I don't think I took a video of that. All right, moving on to side mirrors. So I'm creating another body for this, and I'm just going on to create box, and I selected a plane over here to draw again, and I'm drawing a box right now. And the box can honestly be any size you want because you're gonna edit it after either way, so it doesn't have to be perfect. And basically everything is just editing the shape. So I did this. I cut off a few lines to make it a little bit more look like a side mirror. And yeah, and basically that's it. And if you want to know how I got it into this form, so as I mentioned before, we were always in the design format, and this is actually how my car looks. Sorry. I'm so sorry, I'm not using my mouse right now. That's why it's like a little bit, 1 second. Okay, so basically, this is like how my car looks in the design process. And like, as you can see,
you understand, this is the real one, what she made. And you understand that. I think that if I am a kind of car company owner, I will hire her at maybe $100,000 at the first day.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank
so
you.
It's so cool. Srijan,
Yeah.
you want this car? Want to drive?
Sure.
Yeah. Fantastic job,
Thank
Aditi.
you. It looks really modern.
It's so modern. I think that it's one of the best model.
Thank you.
She should compete for the challenge of design. How is that, Rishi? Want this car?
Yeah, I really want that car.
Oh my God, I desperately. I will pay for whatever I earn. Okay, I think it's a great job. Any question?
And like as you can see, I added like features such as like Fusion 360 has this really cool tool called Appearance, and you can add glass, and like my mirrors are actually mirrors. Like this is mirror, and then the tires are rubber, and then I actually added frosted. You can't. Okay, wait. I actually added frosted glass on the headlights to make it to have texture on the headlights, and yeah, the wheels are aluminum metal. And when we're in design mode right now, and remember how I told you we can like actually switch modes. If I go into render mode, this creates a more realistic picture of our design, and this is what it looks like basically if I got rid of all the faces. And yeah, that's basically it.
Amazing.
So
Amazing.
yeah, this is my final product, and thank you.
Wow, good job.
Nice.
Okay, so say something, Dia or Oishi, say something and kind of, what is that? Who wants the car? Everyone video. Question.
That was
Okay.
really impressive. Wow.
Thank you.
So is this just an interest for you, or did you do this as a project? Or
So like actually I learned like AutoCAD in like school and stuff, and like it was interesting to me. I actually didn't know about this software until like uncle introduced it to me, and then he made me like told me to watch YouTube tutorials, and like I've also made like other things, and like I've made like little boxes, and yeah.
Okay,
I think
Aditi is also
yeah.
helping me in a project. So she is making a box for a medical device that I am planning to, and we will be implementing a 3D printer. So when I found that Aditi, once she was saying that she wants to be mechanical engineer, I think 3 years ago I said that, okay, start something. Okay. So then I found that last year I found that the 3D Fusion is free version for students. It's so good CAD. So then I did not know how to make a car. I said that lots of people are doing. So can you see the Google and YouTube? And she is now professional. I am looking a job for her.
yeah, it seems so. It's really good. I'm very impressed.
Thank you.
Are there any features on this program like to measure, like to do measurements? I know that there's.
Yeah, there is a feature. I can actually show it to you right now if you want. So if I'm here, right, and I can just go on design mode, and you can go on inspect over here, and like you can measure. So now if you want to, this measure button pops up, and you can select anything and you can measure that. For example, if I measure from this side to like this side of the wheel, right? Sorry, that doesn't work out. But like, yeah, you can measure over here. It's like
Exact dimension should be there. Yes.
yeah, it's exactly what. It's not working. I'm so sorry, but like
That's all right.
you can see the area over here comes up, and like, yeah.
Some dimension will come exactly what is there. Yes, it is a professional version. In a sense, the student's version is free, but lots of people are using this version for 3D printer.
That's
I have
really
a question.
Yeah.
Can it, if you have like the materials and you have like a larger printer, could you actually put this design into like a 3D printer and it would like print in like a real like life-sized car or something like that?
Yeah, I think so. You know that lots of people are, Srijan, lots of people are now building parts for even for house in 3D printer and making the house. However, you know that the car body and the parts, everything is in different material with different structure.
Yeah, so you have to like assemble it. So, but can you print like the individual parts, like let's say like the shell?
You can.
That's nice.
Okay, I think it's amazing. I want to reset the meeting because every time it is kind of I don't want to go interrupting you. So I am going to close this one and then again.
Can I say one thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oloka, by the way, she is an engineer
Yeah.
and she graduated from Kuwait, now from here in Canada, and she is working in city, and she has big experience on construction or big bridge or something like that. She is
On building too.
Okay, go.
Aditi, you did an amazing job.
Thank
I
you.
have some experience. I'm a structure engineer, so I did a lot of 3D model for the buildings. So there are two types of softwares. One is like what you showed, like just to draw. Another one is analyzing.
Oh,
So it's really good job. Keep it up.
thank
And
you.
you learned everything on your own, so it's very good.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Good job.
So, Aditi, which grade you are in?
I'm in grade 10.
Grade 10. I learned
Professor.
AutoCAD maybe when I finished undergraduate.
Professor, show your face.
No, I do not have. I am on my desktop.
Okay, good.
So I even learned AutoCAD when I finished my undergraduate degree. But you are so smart. You see that these days kids are much more smart than us, right? You see.
Definitely.
So that's a really great job. I
Thank
try
you.
to see that sometimes that when we teach undergraduate student here, sometimes that we.
Oh, by the way, people a little bit. The
Yes,
person who is talking, he had done his PhD from Japan, postdoc from England, now professor in Canada. So he is full professor, by the way. Okay, go on.
Yeah. So you did a great job. I am just I was just listening and I said that okay, how is great she's in. She's talking like a professional.
Thank
You
you
did
so
good
Thank
job.
you, people.
You have to be a mechanical engineer, I can see.
Yep.
Thank you so much. I'll try.
Oh no, definitely you are very good. Okay, continue. Heather?
Okay, so should I stop and for the next session?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so we are stopping that one and going for next session.